if you can share about that.
Oh yeah, sure.
We're just live right now. So.
All right. I would say it's the best one in that, and I'm sure you can relate to this, but for me, starting up my own business and
Yes.
when it's time to start up, there's like everything has to be a brand new template. Everything has to be and this for the first time, and this can be done stronger. This wasn't as good. People who you thought were going to be supportive clients, whatever, and it turns out they were like, yeah, and then when you're ready for them, nothing happens. So there's a lot of that happens with every new business that starts up, right? And
lots of surprises. What you think ahead would happen actually comes from somewhere else. And your business goes that path, maybe a better path. Who knows?
Than
the one you've imagined.
Exactly. And not the whole part, but a big part of it is that when I was doing I don't know what this thing is at now, but when I was doing the my Raised by the Bar, which we've talked about, and that was like my
phenomenal book that I really recommend to anybody who wants to have fun.
Well, and the thing is that for that book, I put so much into it, and when I put it out there, I didn't know what to expect, but
fun and understanding of relationships.
So when it comes to promoting it, it's not a service that I was providing, right? It's not necessarily it's not like a cookbook. It's not, and it wasn't even fiction. So to try to get people to buy the book was very difficult for me because I felt like I would say, hey, Rafa, I wrote this book. It's all about me. Buy it. So it makes it sound like I'm just trying to talk about me. It seemed very egotistical. I ran into those troubles. So I did come up with I came up with a lot of ideas, and a lot of them were complete epic failures. Oh my God, it was crazy. The things I was doing to try to promote this book that didn't work. There was one thing that I did, which was make those little cartoons. You might have seen it on Facebook, the cocktail cartoons.
The cube, the little boxes?
The little boxes, yeah. Well, not the cube that I show in the video, but like the actual...
cookies? There were cookies as well.
The cookies was also another idea that I had. I'll grab the book real quick.
Yeah.
Don't know where the book is. All right. Well, that's annoying that I don't know where I put the actual book. But
Raised by the Bar, folks. It's available on Amazon.
Well, the book is actually called
or it's a different book you're talking about.
This is a different book. This was where I was making these cartoons that are here. Like, this is a great example. All right, so I was doing cartoons like this. Okay, just like little alcoholic drinks. These are like drinks that were just like a cartoon. So it's a cartoon, and the idea behind that promotion was to, when people were scrolling on Facebook, as everybody does, they would see the cartoon, they would look at it, and they would say, oh, what does this say? Because it's just one little sentence. They'll just read it real quick and whatever. I just wanted people to stop scrolling and read the cartoon, and then they'll see, oh, there's Raised by the Bar. There's this book. Let me check out this book. Buy the book, whatever. What ended up happening is that people became much more interested in the cartoon than the book.
Yeah.
And when I would talk to people and I would say, oh, the book there, oh, you mean like that cartoon I've seen? I said, not the cartoon, the book. Oh, yeah, but those cartoons are so funny. Now, my sister, Shambi, I got to say, she kept telling me, Achilles, the cartoons, you should do something with the cartoons. You guys do something with the cartoons. And I was like, yeah, I said, I have too many other things going on, blah, 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 whatever. So the cartoons ended up getting so much attention.
Right.
And they were, first of all, black and white. I would draw it real quick. It wasn't even beautiful artwork. As long as it was funny, that's all that mattered to me, right? I was like, if it makes me laugh, I'll just put it out there, whatever. So I
That's amazing.
So I ended up going with my sister's advice, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to take all those cartoons I already did. I had like 25. I drew 25 more, put it in a book, put it out there for sale, right, on Amazon. And I did it exactly a week ago. It was last weekend that I put this book out there. Just a little promo, my profile page. Again, not all the big stuff that I did for Raised by the Bar, just put out there. The people, the response for this book of cartoons is absolutely insane. The people, it's already outsold Raised by the Bar, like just within 1 week, like in terms of the response.
Gosh.
I have people calling me now saying that, hey, I want you to do a book signing for this book at a winery. There's one that wants to do it like at a brewery and stuff like that. All of this for this book that they want me to bring more copies. I did an event yesterday. I was tucked way back in this corner in this festival and so forth, in a tent that was about therapy, selling crystals and massages and stuff. I just have a friend that was doing that event. So I had like half of her little table. I only had 5 books because I just bought 5 books from Amazon just to see how it looks in print. I sold them all to people. And there was one woman who didn't know me. Her husband saw the book from far away and he said, why would you have cocktails, like these drink things in this tent? Then the wife comes over. She loved the cover. It's like, oh my God, I'll buy this book. And then she bought the book. She went and told another friend who came back and bought the other book. And then that woman who bought the first one went to some brewery tent thing where there were alcohol. She spoke to that manager and he's the one who said, hey, we have this other event. It'd be great for you to do a book signing. So it's just really started taking off.
It's such a great object to have a book.
Well, I mean, it's also a great lesson, I think, for everyone to keep in mind. I certainly been very quick to do that for other people, where I'll say, hey, you have this, you should do that. But for myself, because it was something that I did so quickly, and for me that it was so easy, I didn't see the value in what the book had to offer, for sure.
You unlocked the power very easily. You tested it it didn't.
Well, I didn't even think it was much of a test. I said, well, let's just throw this out there and see what happens. And so now and even with the book, then another person who I know, she's family. So she's like, you have to FaceTime me. It's like, what the hell? This was like on Thursday. She had bought the book off of Amazon, and with the cover, she had designed this whole thing to make it like coasters and stuff like that. So beautiful coasters on marble. It's like, it was crazy. So, and she's someone who I had done some stuff with before, but just the response, the feedback.
What we're gonna do, you and me?
Yeah. So
you're gone.
Bro, but then also the other part to that ended up being like with.
What's a coastal, by the way?
A coaster is
coaster. Okay.
A coaster, yeah. So then, because my cartoons, I just wish I knew.
Oh, I know. The object you put below the
drinks.
The drinks, yeah. I have coasters, yeah.
Here. This is why I couldn't find it, because the book is up here. All right. So this is what the book looks like. Oh, you want to see what she said? Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to buy it for sure.
Well, but inside it looks like this. This is just a bunch of
but maybe cartoons. Having an object, a physical object, and
I mean, people were flipping through it. They laughed. They thought it was funny.
Flipping it through it. It gives you an experience, an easy experience.
The marketing
but
strategy,
fun one. I know you have a lot of humor.
Well, apparently I'm funnier than I thought.
Only if they knew, what's in your book, they would be buying it and reading it right away. Obviously, it takes a little bit more effort than just flipping a book.
Well, and that's where
the reward is huge. I'm laughing every single, maybe 3 pages. So you don't need to be like a really fast reader. You enjoy, really, and it's a short book too, right?
And that's the thing. It was a short book, but I also realized that for any company, in terms of the marketing, is that to get people's attention now more than ever with all of social media and the different platforms and so forth, is that it has to be something that people feel like they can consume very quickly. So any book, doesn't matter what the book is. When people hear a book, they think of it, oh my God, it's a time commitment. I'll wait for the movie. I'll wait for the TV show, whatever. And so this one, because it was just you just flip the page, you can read it real quick. If you laugh, if it's funny, it was just easier for them to consume. So that's where, in terms of a marketing strategy for a lot of stuff.
Don't underestimate the business model behind that. NFTs, you can monetize your designs through NFTs. You could become an animated business.
Yeah,
you've got it's I don't know how you've got the license or whatever it's called.
Well, you get the copyright, and then
copyright. Yeah.
And then aside from that, there's these children's books that I was illustrating for 2 people, and we've been working on these books, my God, for like months. I'm going to say poor Levon, I think it's been like 3 months now that we were just constantly back and forth, doing it over. And what about this? And having to fix that. And now some of these other projects that have nothing to do with my book, they're like really coming underway. And let's say for you and for my friend, because I think of you and let's say Dave, you technically, let's say like clients, sure, but by far more of a friendship, I would say, than the client type relationship. And some of the things were just like so long in the process in building that. And now when I see like the My French community thing, right, and that party that we had, the stuff that I wanted to talk to you about today is that, and it is funny because I know that you French MBA, which I was very unsure of in the beginning. Now I am like completely 100% so on board with that, with the name, believe it or not. That was the biggest hurdle, but with the concept of it and different ways to tackle that. And like the more the people who I interact with, the more success that they get. And with that collaboration, it really helps to cross promote, which is what I had always envisioned before. I just never, until I start seeing it now. Like somebody reached out to me because they want to go to the party on June 7th. Isn't that right?
Right.
June 7th.
Man, I had a word in my mind. I just slipped my mind. This I think it's Hindu word that is the intersection between doing something you love and getting and the society recognizes it's useful, and all of a sudden it's not karma, it's not mantra, it's something else.
Is it serendipitous? Serendipity is where some people think of it. I like to think of it as synchronicity, like a synergy where the different energies from different things really help elevate all the parts together. And
serendipity, the occurrence of development of events. It's dharma. They say dharma.
I remember that.
You are in your dharma. Like you all of a sudden you're exploding. This new idea brings so many ramifications.
Well, I mean, there's just like, so many different parts to it, because I was like, now with this cocktails book, where the way that it's selling, I said, I put that on my site and my books are thing. But then the children's books for these 2 authors who had so much patience with me, God bless them both, that their books can go on there and other things throughout the summer to kind of really like, elevate. I also got asked to be a guest speaker for a virtual event at the Hudson Museum in
gone.
No. That's what
Achilles is gone now. He's like a rocket to the sky.
And I was like, I asked them, I said, a guest speaker for what? And they were like, a mutual contact.
I'm so happy for you, so excited.
For Raised by the Bar. They were like, for Raised by the Bar and so forth. We went and speak so forth. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And they, so I have that scheduled. But
I mean, that is an achievement if you look at your.
And it is. And then of course,
it speaks for itself. You don't need any diploma or certification out there. You should just go read.
No. I'll just
this book. You'll understand who you're talking to.
They did.
That's for sure. I'm just kidding.
Well, they did ask that. They said when I talked about the book to not go into topics that were too sexual. And I was right. But I was like, that's not my style. That's not what I would do.
Right. But there's only maybe one part. I mean, there's a few parts, but
apparently there's a few parts because she's like, I haven't read your book, but I watched another interview that you did and you were talking about X, Y, and Z stuff. And I was like, oh, but I said, but in that interview, you can't see, but the audience is a bunch of like young, drunk gay guys. That's what they wanted to talk about. But everybody's got their thing. But Kelsey said the same thing you're saying now. She's like, oh my God, Achilles, now you're gone or whatever and so forth. And I was like, no, I see this as like, if anything, I'm driving.
Well, it was nice meeting you, Achilles.
To me, I'm like, I'm driving, if anything, I'm driving a school bus. That's what I always pictured as Planet Achilles, is like me and a bunch of other people, we're all kids in the school bus with our dreams. And then it's like, there's no reason why
you published. So just let me summarize. You published that animated book.
It's the cartoon.
The cartoon. Yeah. It's called Cocktails.
Yeah.
Cocktails, the first 50. Okay.
Yeah. So these are the first.
Fun. It's a beautiful object. You know, just to have at your home, or even if you're
it's a great Father's Day. It's a Father's Day gift. If you like to drink,
or you Father's Day, or any place where people are waiting, like waiting room. That's also a great object to have.
Yes, it is. It's kind of clean,
kind of like a fun one, right?
It's a fun one. There's nothing edgy in terms of like that would be offensive. I was very, very careful to make sure that the humor just is nice for everybody. Right. There's nothing in there as to why somebody.
Right. So it's kind of it suits a huge audience. You know, it's not rated R, or I don't know what.
No, you're right. I mean, the only aspect to it really is that you wouldn't have like kids reading it, because again, it's alcohol drinks. So one doesn't want to think you're promoting.
You got invited to be the host. To be the host of.
I'm the guest speaker of this event at the Hudson Museum in up in Yonkers, New York.
Okay, so
it's virtual.
I assume it's like it's a fancy virtual event.
I suppose.
Museum.
I'll dress nice.
And probably they want to promote their what do they have over there?
Well, because next month is Pride Month, so they were trying to find different things to speak to the LGBTQ community and stuff. Right. And so they felt that my book, and so I'll be speaking about people coming out of the closet, because coming out of the closet now is very different than how it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 60 years ago. Nobody was coming out at all. So and even now when people come out, they don't necessarily come out saying gay.
That's amazing.
Some people come out of the closet and they say that they're non-binary, the whole this, or they have no gender.
It's called Yonkers Museum?
It's the Hudson Museum in Yonkers.
The Hudson Museum. That's great. And then what?
And these children's books that will be coming out next month as well, where I'm the illustrator for it. All these different ways to promote different things. So
you finally getting to the release of that book.
To the release of those books, but it's like I don't know how for you, let's say with everything that you've done, you started out with this idea, like you're sitting in the cafe and you're like, oh, I can see this thing, and some people kind of see it and it ends up being bigger than they thought, and some people they see it, but it isn't until it actually happens,
right,
that they're like, oh wow. It's just so gratifying to see certain things come together and be like, okay, I wasn't crazy. That's to me more than anything else. It's not like, oh, I'm this big shot. It's like, okay, so I wasn't crazy in thinking that this could work. Now I didn't think that this was going to be much of anything. I was really, really shocked.
I want to buy it too.
And for that it's gone really well. But for the children's books things to be coming into play, and
as you said, it's very gratifying to see the results come to life. And as you told me last week, you said everything that you think about grows, or you said something like that, right?
Oh, whatever you focus on grows.
Whatever you focus on grows.
And whether it's the positive or the negative, what you focus on, it grows, and it can certainly it creates the experience. So, if you focus on somebody cheating on you and that's where all your attention is going,
right,
or you focus on what's wrong with the problem or what's wrong with this, then that's what's going to go ahead and ultimately consume the thing.
And for people like me who have a tendency of having like kind of like an obliger type of personality, you are bringing this space that forces me to show up for myself, for what I'm doing. So that's
and I think it's important for you. I've seen it a couple of times where when you do own your own business and you're getting things underway, and you are the person who has to solve 95% of the problems that are there. If you are the problem solver, you have to put out the fires. If there's issues with students, with membership, with curriculum, or all that kind of stuff, your eye is trained to that. So I think for you, sometimes it was very important that I turn around and say, okay, Rafa, yeah, you're putting out all these fires, all these issues you got to solve, but there's this thing that's amazing. There's this thing that's really good. There's these other things. Sometimes it takes someone to remind you, because in management, you know this and I know this. People, when you're a manager, never come to you and say, oh my God, Rafa, I love that you put on this event. No, they'll say, well, I had trouble getting the link, or I had blah, blah, blah. They come to you with the problem. In management, no one ever comes and says, how can I help you make this easier? Nobody does that for you.
I read your book. I know you were the bar manager at some point.
Oh God, yeah, that's for sure. Nobody wanted to help me do anything. All you do is complain. You're like a big dumpster that people just want to throw all their problems in their
right.
issues.
And there's something in the book that you say that it took you to it was important for you as a bar manager to empathize with for example, someone
with the customers.
Yeah, blaming, like a customer blaming another customer.
Oh,
but having no proof about what they claimed about the other customer.
That's where I say, in terms of customer service, the one thing that's really required is for the customer to feel validated. That is not the same as them being right. They need to feel validated. Like at least what they were saying was given the respect and time. Now, they still might walk away unhappy. That's all fine and well. Right. But when they don't feel validated, like the person was really taking me seriously, that's when it'll blow up into a whole kind of like mess. That's when
I've experienced that.
I'm sure. Anybody in customer service, anybody who's a manager on the business and so forth, whether it's with a customer or with a vendor, a distributor, whatever, it's really, really tough. And that's one thing I will say for myself, that because I've had so many different jobs and as a bartender dealt with so many kinds of people, that when I think of an event, if you're going to do an event, if there's a business, I can imagine all these different scenarios of different type of customers and different kinds of people, and what's their scenario. Like we would talk about, like, okay, so Rafa, if somebody comes to your site and it's because of this and this, what are they going to think if they haven't spoken to you, if they haven't met you, that kind of stuff. Right. That's why I now, with the French MBA, no, I can totally see it pulling people that you would never normally get in other ways. And there's two important things to talk to in terms of the French MBA. But I wanted to check with you first to see what you have thought. I'm sure you've given more thought to it.
Right.
What do you think that would look like?
I'm sorry?
And for you right now, in the initial stage of it, what does a French MBA look like?
Okay, yeah. I can answer that question. I wanted to give you an update also of the few things I've done. But what do you want? You want me to answer that question first?
Sure, yeah. For my purposes, I wanted this week the discussion to be about the French MBA. So whatever you have to let me know about that, great. If there's other stuff you want to talk about too, that's all well and good. There's one social media thing that we have to talk about, but with the the French MBA, I want to hear all about it for what you have.
Okay. All right. The French MBA. So I think we've started that discussion last week. So basically, it's I already said that it's a trading school. A trade school. Trade school. Okay. Sorry, trade school. Yeah. So training skills school. I don't know how to say that in English. If that's
training skills, that works too.
Yeah, trade skills school, where the way it works is in workshops of 4 folks with a coach instructor, and it's quite intense. There are They are it's over 2 months. There is a let's say a first step of discovering the skill that we're going to study maybe for a week.
Okay, so when you say 2 months, so this is once a week for 8 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe there's a little break in the middle. So it's pretty intense. So each week you have like a first step where you discover the skill. So, and you create your own, you share your own understanding of that skill with others during the week, right? On the forum, everybody sees your work. It happens to be in French. Everything is 100% in French, by the way. So it's for folks above B1 plus level. Then there's a lot of discovering what other folks did and giving your own feedback to them. There's the second step would be a more reflective one, where you have the ability, you have the space to actually now, after a week or so of reading the perspective from others, and you know, doing your own research and writing your own topic, your own value added to yourself almost, and receiving all these feedbacks. Now you have the space to reflect on that skill, how it can change you, how you changed the way you perceive it. That all these 2 steps with all the feedback and homework in the middle happens during the week. And then during the weekend, you'll have, let's see, I wrote it somewhere. Let me see if I'm.
Because do you think that these workshops will be held on the weekends?
So it's nonstop. It's pretty intense. I've been inspired by Seth Godin's Alt MBA, and I want to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You'll be immersed in French, and your French will improve as a byproduct of that. But since your French level is already, intermediate, we're not doing French by the book. We're training other skills. So, for example, life coaching skills, soft skills. What it is that it depends on the program. So it's going to be
catered. Did you say soft skills? What are soft skills?
Yeah, for example, assertivity skills, negotiation skills, assertivity skills. So, how to tell others when you feel, a boundary has been violated somehow.
Assertivity, is that, did you get that word from the Alt MBA?
No.
I mean, I can tell by the way it is a word. I've never heard the word before, but it is one. Because it's based off of being assertive. So the activity of being assertive is assertivity. I just never heard the word. So I was wondering.
If I go through, for example, so I do that with the rubies especially on Sundays with Diane, and sometimes with Luda, and with the Jedis as well on Sunday. So for example, time management. Today we saw time management. It happens that time management has nothing to do with managing time, has everything to do with managing yourself.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Right. So, another topic, the previous week, in fact, I'm just looking here, how to become more confident, how to enjoy the experience of being you. So topics that life coaches, people who maybe are entrepreneurs, have been successful, they have written about it. Integrity, your beliefs in terms of money,
so
how to ask for help.
All right. So then with the workshops, let's say for one, the 8 weeks, and 2 months, I think that they'll end up being the same, because chances are, if you take 8 weeks straight in the year, no matter where you put that block in, there's going to be a holiday in there somewhere. So you might end up, week 1, 2, and 3, then you skip 4 because it's Thanksgiving or it's Father's Day, whatever the case may be, you might end up doing. So we'll just say it's 2 months, but it technically will be 8 weeks in the sense that you will have 8 actual classes in this course, 8 workshops in this course, right?
Right.
Okay. So if someone to take this to go into these workshops, it would not be someone who I'm working in real estate in Chicago and now I'm moving to Vancouver, so therefore I want to learn French. I don't know any French at all. Then they would be better off really going to take the beginner's class versus because you can't go and dive into all the industry terms of real estate without the basic fundamental knowledge of French in and of itself.
Right. This is for B1 plus folks.
For B1 plus. Okay.
And then everything that's below that, obviously the best method is to also do it in a small group with this time, only a very experienced and almost by the book, but not boring, a method, like a blueprint. So that's also a product, but it's for everything that's underneath that. It will take you much more time to go from beginner to intermediate. It will be faster if you actually are immersed and if you follow a method that was proven to
well, then the term you might want to use then, because I know you don't like using the term by the book, and especially when it comes to learning a language, when you hear by the book, you feel like, okay, we're going to sit here with the vocabulary word. But so you could say structured if they said that it's structured, because at least that people know that there is like this timeline that's kind of put into place versus something like Casual Saturdays that is just kind of fun and very relaxed. Casual Saturdays, it's not structured. It's so that people can just kind of engage in just being So
for that product, when you're a beginner and you want to, the 7 boots league method. I call it like that. The 7 boots league method. This book. No, what's it called? Subscribe.
7
league boots. 7 league boots.
How do you spell that?
It's this book. 7 league LEAGUE. Maybe.
Okay, like leagues under the sea. Okay, so 7 league book. All right.
It's very European. It's a very European cultural.
What are the leagues?
Reference. So you put on these boots. It's a story, right? It's a story.
Oh, so is it like a kid's book?
The boots allow the person wearing them to take strides of 7 leagues per step, resulting in great speed. So yeah, it's basically what we wrote on the website. Accelerate. What did we write? You basically are going to accelerate your progress from beginner to confident.
Accelerate your progress from beginner to confident intermediate.
Yeah. So you put on these boots and it allows you to really go faster, to streamline your progress in French. And not only because of in that case, Isabel has a double hat. Almost she's twice qualified in terms of that product, because she won't make any mistakes. She can explain, but on top of that, she knows how to. It's not only the book and you follow only the book. There's this very experienced teacher that will produce out of you somehow if you just show up.
Because having the knowledge is only half of it. Being able to communicate that so that the person can absorb it is a very powerful. Well, it's just as necessary, because if you can't really communicate it in a way that the people can absorb it, then that knowledge just stays where it started, in your own head.
Yeah, that teacher is experienced at making you, assimilate.
Yes,
it needs to be assimilated, and she knows how to do it. Like she's not going to bring, difficult tasks at the end. She will, and she's very good at it. It's just
now the term is I think would be used in terms of the French, let's say the French MBA, the inaugural class, which is to say the very first class, the first 4 people, maximum 4 people, because truth be told, I would always say maximum 4 people, because maximum is for you, not someone just for them. Because if it's only 2 people in this class, like I know me, if it was just me, one other person, then I get to talk even more. I get more attention, whatever, from the instructor. But there will be a maximum of 4 people in the inaugural class. So for this inaugural class, the one that's going to let's say start off your first 4, they will be really doing stuff for, it doesn't matter if one is for real estate and the other one's for a medical position somewhere and so forth. The idea of what you're talking about with negotiation, the life coaching, the assertivity and all that kind of stuff. These are all things that doesn't matter so much exactly where you're coming from in terms of what industry. You'll be practicing these tools with other people. So it doesn't matter if it's a medical and a real estate agent. They can still work on the negotiation skills one and the same, because the instructor can help fill in the gaps of some of the business terms.
Yeah, business terms and the French. So and also the interactivity with your peers, brings a lot to you in terms of having a perspective from others that is different. It's not one perspective, the teacher against everybody else.
Right.
We're breaking that paradigm. We're making it a trade school. You're training your skills, and the coach instructor is a resource like another one. Like a lot of resource already is free online. It's just there to go get.
Yes.
But being in a group and interested in the same topics at the same time creates that dynamic, that commitment to yourself. There's also that, because time management. If you pay for a program, and relatively not cheap, because it brings a lot of value, well, you want to be consistent and do the program. You want that because you've paid for it. So it makes sense for you to show up, to do your own. And also it's about your perspective of that skill. How do you experience that skill? What can you bring of value to others in your perspective by giving feedback? And it happens to be in French. So we do that during the week. It's more like studious, like first. So B1 plus again, B1 plus,
right.
not the baby wires, the blueprint or the 7 league boots, and that's a European reference. It's actually.
I'll be looking that up later.
It's actually a story that you could design it, illustration. But basically, in that case, you need a very experienced teacher, also intense program, and you need to also commit. I would ask for folks to commit also for 2 months at least, because that's not even enough. 2 months especially for them. For the B1 plus, it's enough, because once they finish it, B1 plus, the French MBA, they can get all of these topics that they wrote, all the process of them changing through the studying of these skills. And on top of that, number 1, so we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Number 2, every week they get a report of the typical mistakes they make with recommendations on how to improve them. So do that type of exercise, because that typically is a French mistake you make. If you do 10 times, almost like when we were kids, I mean, at school, if you make a mistake, you have to write, I don't know how many times, the fact that you made that mistake.
God. Yeah.
But that you can do almost, it's shadow practicing. So you can do that off course. And we will have an engineer also who will be working on AI, because this week I had a meeting with a product teacher and someone who's been a product manager in the Silicon Valley for a big firm, and who still is, and is also a teacher. And I bounced my ideas at him, and he said it was not only the technology is ready, but it also makes sense in terms of the product, because we're stripping out all of that dirty job of interrupting, of correcting in the moment, and we're leaving that for a second part for students to actually, or learners to actually still be aware of it. So we're not stripping it off from the experience. You still get that at the end of the journey. You know the mistakes you made. You know how to improve. And like in every trade school, your progress is in your hands. You see, it's not the teacher who downloads the knowledge in you. It's you through the foraging, through the practicing that becomes better.
Okay, so with that said, for me, then let's say I'm in this class. It's got 3 other student members, whatever, in it, participants. I'm one of those 4. So if I'm taking this for 2 months, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I'm only interacting with you and the other students in terms of like, let's say like this, like a Zoom, and those kind of like the live sessions. That the live sessions only happen once a week. Yes.
No, live sessions.
So the live sessions are what would that schedule look like?
It'll be 5 hours and a half per week. I think.
So is that 5 times a week?
No, 2 times 90 minutes during the week.
Okay.
And 2 times an hour and 15 minutes during the weekend. So that alone is already, a lot in terms of you practicing French. So even if you fail at the second skill, which you won't, because if you apply for the program, it means that these skills interest you. You want to get better at it. And the only way for you to become better at it is not to download it, but it's for you to practice. If you want to become better at negotiations, if you want to become better at being somebody who's assertive, if you want to become better at managing your time, if you don't do it, if you don't practice it, you don't become better.
Okay, so now let's just put a pause here. I wrote it down.
Same with French. If you don't practice your French.
Well, I will circle back to this at some other time, but I do want to pause and acknowledge that there is something really strong about what you said in terms of like for marketing purposes for people to understand, is that you cannot download fluency. You cannot download confidence. That is something you only get from the practice and through the immersion and interacting with other people. And that's something that's so important. And whether it's the French MBA or just a regular My French community, like the idea of like, you can download apps that do so many different things, but there's certain things that you can only truly get through interaction with other human beings in live sessions.
It's several things, Achilles. I agree. It's several things. It's doing the research about the skill itself that can be done. It's the material is almost for free online, or you can buy a book. All right, you can read a book on negotiations, never split the difference, for example, or you can listen to Brooke Castillo's life coaching podcast. She has hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of invaluable, in my opinion, content that could change your life literally. Or assertivity. There are some online video classes that you can look at on LinkedIn, and this guy Chris Croft is his name. He teaches a few techniques on how to become assertive. And if you become assertive, your life will change. Especially if you're not assertive, if you're a people pleaser, an obliger like me, and you say yes all the time, you cannot manage your time, because if you say yes all the time, you take away from your own priorities. So how do you manage your time, etc., etc. And then and then other skills, any skills that needs practicing, how to become a public speech, somebody who's good at delivering a public speech, which is one of the biggest fear among dying, losing money, being wrong. Being wrong in public is even
is public speaking, and a lot of people they struggle that with their native language. So to do it in another language, especially now that I know that the French people laugh so much at you. So that's that. I definitely can understand that.
So it's the experience of you doing that research, because you have to do it. The experience of you being in a live session with others who've done that research, who maybe that's also the space for you to continue that research. Then giving your perspective on it. So writing it down, like writing almost like an article of your own, like you are a journalist all of a sudden, or you are the person who reflects on how the skills impacts your life, and then seeing the work from the others, giving them your perspective from how they can improve. That's invaluable. And then doing the job of reflecting on that. That would be during the week, and everything in French. And at the end of the week, again, you'll receive a report, because we'll see on your written, on the live sessions, because it's going to be recorded privately with your consent. And we'll have an AI also that will assist the teachers in actually delivering these report in a friendly, user-friendly way, so that, you know, if you are, it's already very demanding, but if you are driving, you can still listen to, oh, okay, I did 3 types of mistakes this week that I can improve by doing this exercise in French.
Okay.
So you, at the end of the week, you still improve your French a little bit, you know, incrementally every week you do that.
With increments. Now, so let's,
and maybe I would say during the week, so you have like during the week you have like kind of like this debrief, you know. Weekend is like study, giving your perspective, feedback, reflecting on the work, and then weekend is more debriefing, maybe, you know, but in the live sessions that you debrief, so it's easy because you're already debriefed, and discovering maybe this report, you know, like only the French thing, and like kind of like more relaxed way, so less intense than during the week.
Okay, so then let's let me ask you this.
That's why there's this casual Saturday that still makes sense, you know. Casual Saturday still makes sense.
If what is important for someone to know, to understand before they join one of these, to join that 2-month thing? What do you want that person to understand? Because like you said, it's very demanding, which I can understand why you say that. But what do you think is what is critical?
We want to create an impact in you, you know, and there's no impact if you're not showing up for yourself, if you're not.
Right. So if I'm a person who's thinking like, oh, maybe I should go ahead and do that. What do you want? For now, we'll just call them a member, right? What does this member need to know before they decide to sign up? Because when you say it's demanding, everybody has a different idea of what that means. Like for starters, I thought that it was once a week, but now I understand it's 3 times a week, twice between Monday through Friday, whenever that is, right? The scheduling of that, and then so how. I'll put it to you this way. If somebody's expected to be doing these workshops 3 times a week, right? That's what's being offered. Do you have a certain requirement that, like, what if the person says, well, I can only go to 1 during the week and the 1 on the weekend? Is that acceptable? Is there an attendance policy that you plan to put in?
The attendance policy is being managed through the price. Through the price that you put in, and
well, because this is what I'm saying, because what you're offering is absolutely tremendous and it's great and it's true. They get as much out of it as they're going to put into it. That's also fine. But I'm trying to. I learned the hard way, some of with my own stuff, right? Yeah. That if it is a class of 3 people and they're doing this, and one of those 3 people is only showing up once during the week and once on the weekend, and how that may or may not impact the other 2. So it
doesn't impact in my case, because the French instructor the French coach instructor is going to be there, and even when one person
and one doesn't show up,
valuable, it makes
so is it okay if someone only
I understand that there's this emotional impact, you know, but if you get rid of the emotional impact, only 2 people, if they still get
the quality session. The session, the quality, it doesn't change.
Even 1,
So
the only problem is 1, and there won't be 1 because there will be the coach instructor.
Right. So is it okay then if somebody's only going to?
it's okay. It's okay if absolutely
The
okay.
only one it hurts is the person who's not going, because
Yeah,
then
it hurts you because you don't squeeze out all that value from the workshop.
so
Uh,
the policy, if anything,
which
is
is fine. Sometimes you just cannot make it, which sometimes it's just yeah.
well,
But you do have
they're,
to reflect on whether you want to do it because yes, there's a lot of value to squeeze out.
right now, and they, when they pay for the course, they pay for the course. So if you miss 3 classes, you're not paying less money. The money is
Oh
paid.
yeah, no, you pay the full price. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's just the more you show up, the better it is for you. That's, at the end of the day, that's the policy. The attendance is you're
Hopefully,
not making.
if we were what we're delivering has value, yes. If it doesn't have value, then no.
Right, but in this case, yes, it is.
Yeah, in this
It'll
case,
have its value. Okay.
yeah, we're making sure, we're killing 2 birds with a stone. So we're not going to be the highest expert in the second skill, but we'll have some type of experience of it, and we'll be a peer with you, if not a little advanced. We'll already made our own research and all of that. So that's why I was telling you last week. Therefore there's 2 requirements to becoming a French coach instructor for the LTM, for the French MBA. It's not only you need to have high French skills. So on demand, you can answer, how to translate something, or the reasons for grammar, point. But second, you also need to have that proven track record of experience in that second skill, soft skills. That's why an HR people like Noel, like last time I talked to Noel, could do that. She could do that, or negotiation skills. And obviously, you don't need to be the person. And so in that case, you have double skills. You don't need to be the person who's the teacher of the baby wires, where in that case you have twice the skill in French, like you have really a track record. And you don't need to be the person who is the top negotiator, for example, if it's negotiation skill, or top life coach. You don't need to be that, but you need to have both of them. And because so much of it is squeezed from the experience of the person who trains themselves, you having the 2 of them, it's not an upload. So the training, you get a lot because you're going to train, because you're going to be immersed in all of this. So that's why it actually makes sense that you don't need a super huge expert, from that class to still reap tremendous value from it.
Okay. So do you like?
It's still high level though. I'm asking like French. You have to have an honor mention in French baccalaureate, or you have to have some type of track record in French, like French language skills, 1, and 2, for the second skill, either it shows up in your resume, like in the case of Nawal, that she's a psychologist, or she has her own practice of coaching. She's a life coach herself in French, like in real life. So she could actually do this, she could actually do this for the second skill, being life coaching, for example. Or you would be an apprentice and you would write down, during a month or 2 months, on 8 topics, for example, your perspective and your understanding of these skills.
Okay.
In
So
French.
then, so when approaching this, I mean, certainly my recommendation for any new program that somebody's putting together is that you have what is not necessarily the test group, but you do just have that one group so that you can really see how it goes, you tweak it, revise it, whatever. But in order to go ahead and offer this, to promote this, to say, hey, we're looking for people, if anybody's interested, blah, 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 whatever, there has to be a set schedule, right? Yeah. So we know 2 days during the week and 1 on the weekends. Do you know more or less what that looks like? Like, do you know what days you're going to have it be and the times and stuff like that?
I haven't put it on paper yet, but okay. That's
because your schedule is I know full with a lot of stuff already.
Yeah.
because once and it's not that you have to have that right now, but then in order to be able to promote it and so forth and move forward, those things.
I'm going to create some time for that. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly don't know. Like, you would know better than me because of the scope of of who this could help. And
it could help a lot of people.
Well, it can help a lot of people.
Like life coaching, it helps a lot of people.
Well, I can tell you that your wife did teach me one particular thing last week, which is I cannot do from now on, any promotions that I do, I have to put Eastern Standard Time, because I just assume, 7 p.m. And then I saw that she had to include that it's like Eastern time. And I was like, yeah, even some of the other stuff that I've done for other people, I needed to put that for people who live on the West Coast. You also have to contend with people who live in, because I posted something for a virtual event for my high school reunion, right, which is next weekend. One of them lives in Finland. And so he was like, yeah, I wish I could go, but I'm in Finland. I was like, oh my God, I didn't even think that people would be living anywhere outside of the East Coast, which is horrible because I used to live on the West Coast for a while. Yeah. So in your case, what that time and day looks like, you would know better than me. Like what from a business standpoint, what is the most? Because the reason I schedule all my stuff on Sundays, like when I do the Meet the Author sessions, when I do these virtual reunions all summer, I pick Sunday because that's the most flexible time for West Coast and East Coast, and possibly, people in Europe. Is just like the day that most people don't have to contend with work or whatever, right? But for you, I can see how that would be a challenge, because you're only going to have that one class so that you can really see how that works, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah.
Unless you have you have 8 people that want to do it, maybe you would do the 8 people, but it's intensive for them, but that means it's really intensive for you time-wise.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to have people who help me with
right. So if I have instructors and whatever,
more than one group. I mean, it's one French instructor per group at least.
Exactly.
So if I'm the French instructor for both, then I need to do the homework and all that. I need I need people who are interested in this, and
and
want to partner up with me
while you are still figuring out what the exact days and times are going to be. Do you know when this will begin? Do you know what month you'd want to start this in?
Maybe that's a good question.
Well, that's what I'm here for, to ask these good questions. So
what's your recommendation? I can start
well, I mean, here's the thing. Like the first,
I can do a summer camp. I don't know. Yeah.
The first piece that has to be answered is, when is the earliest that you would be able to commit that time to do those?
Yeah, I can commit that time right away, immediately.
Oh, I didn't know that. All right. And then what
effective immediately.
if you could do that effective immediately, and in terms of doing the promotions, then my recommendation would be, let's say that why don't we just this is what's tricky about it, okay? Is that whenever you pick that time, because I was just thinking like, what if we were to say that it was the week of June 7th? Because once you get that month thing out of the way, the monthly party, we can just roll into like, okay, this is when the classes start, and doing that workshop. The thing is that once you commit to that first class in those 2 months, that you can't, it's just bad form to say, we're gonna start at June 7th, and then if you don't get any people, but you do get some people, then you're gonna say, well, we'll start at July 6th. You have to have these semesters set up, and you have to stick with that.
Yeah.
Right. So if nobody shows up for the June 7th, if you don't have anybody for that, then you have to be able to say for sure, well, the first week of August 8th is when it'll roll in, and you can sign up for that. If you get 8 people who say, we want to all take this class, well, the first 4 get in, the other 4.
I just need 2 people. I'm not so ambitious.
Right. You just need the 2 people, and you can go ahead and roll that way.
It's max 4.
It's max 4. So if you think that, let's say, if we started to promote this, because today is the
16th.
Today's the 16th. So if you started to promote this on the 24th, okay, a week from tomorrow.
Yeah.
So the 24th to the 7th gives you exactly 2 weeks to get the 2 people for that class.
Yeah.
Do you think that's
feasible?
Okay, fantastic. So then we'll roll with the idea. We can, because what did I? So the 24th is when the promotion will start. So by the 24th, we'll have met again, and I'll show you my promotion stuff. We can tweak it, get all the stuff ready. So that way, Monday the 24th, boom, you start promoting, I promote it. Everybody who wants to share.
So yeah, it would be June, July, August, right? 2 months from 7th of June to 7th of August, right?
Well, then if the classes, let's say if the classes were going to be on the 8th, right? The first class, that's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Let's just say as an example, if it was the 8th and it was 8 weeks, then it would roll into the beginning of August, only because July 5th is after, July 4th. A lot of people will be off July 5th. They'd have a long weekend, do whatever and so forth. So then that's why, like we said before, it's technically.
When's the long weekend?
July 5th. Because July 4th is a holiday in the U.S.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But because July 4th,
so there will be a break right there.
So that week there won't be anything, which is good for them and also good for you to pull your stuff together, get your things done, whatever.
Yeah, refresh yourself a little bit in French.
and Rafa does have a life that he needs to live and so forth. So for you then, it would be that whole week you're saying they'd be off. It's not just that because of one day. They'd have that whole week off, which is great. They can catch up with their homework, do whatever they got to do, blah, blah, blah. Great. So coming up with that schedule of the classes, knowing that that's when it will start, then now you have those breaks following it in. I think, I'm not sure.
So July the 5th until July the 11th or something is off, is what you're saying.
Is what I'm saying. And I think we can certainly look at it. You look at it, I'll look at it. Let me just underline that thing here, calendar. But I think if you went with it being every 2 months, it might end up taking a 9-week period, more or less, where 1 week they have off because of some kind of holiday. It's tricky with Thanksgiving and Christmas, but then you might just take a whole break, like for that whole month, because you have your own holidays. And a lot of people will struggle, I think, that'd be like the winter break, that there's just no classes given. But it might be really nice for you to have it go from the My French Community Party of this month all the way up to the My French Community Party 2 months later, that it bookends with those parties. So every other My French Community Party will be the beginning of one semester and the beginning of the end of one semester and the beginning of another, if that makes sense.
So at the beginning of
because we were saying now that August
semester you talking about?
I say semester might be the wrong word, but like let's say if this French MBA is every 2 months, then June 7th all the way up to August 3rd, I think.
Right.
Am I looking at this
right? That would be nice, yeah.
To all the way to August 3rd, that would be the course for your French MBA. But then in August 3rd is the beginning of the next one.
Actually, August 2nd is the Monday, is the party, right? So
is the party. So that's what I'm saying. The party might help you, at least in your mind, with the scheduling of it, that this is how it all breaks.
Let's do it this way. Exactly. This way it's very clear in my mind and everybody's mind. That there's a party in the middle, there's a party at the end, and then it starts over. But so there's a break in the middle somehow.
But because of the break for July 5th, what ends up happening is that August 2nd, yes, that is, is it 2nd? August 3rd. 30 days has September, every June, and November. August has 31. Oh, July has 31 days. My calendar is all like messed up. I see that now. Okay, so that August 2nd, technically that week is still part of that first French MBA class.
Yeah, so maybe it's a little shorter than 8 weeks.
And you know what I think, but
7. A week has 7 days. Why not 7 weeks? I don't know. Like,
actually, you know what? That might not be such a bad idea. Considering how intense the classes are.
It's very intense and it's very deep because you start by reflecting on a skill that's not in French, but at the same time you need to learn French. Imagine. Your French is already good, but you're still making a couple of mistakes and you want to get to the next level.
Yeah, I think
and then we go deep into that. It's not just, oh, you saw something like on TV and then you forgot about it. No, it's an entire week of studying, like during the week at least, of studying it, going deep, giving your perspective, coming back with the feedback, doing a reflective exercise on your own work towards that skill, and then you have the weekend kind of like to flush out, relax.
Actually, you know what?
And still continue to immerse.
Yes. So if you go with the 7 weeks, what will end up happening, and it does work out perfectly, like in this case, by it being 7 weeks, you have that break in the middle, so they can kind of do their thing. And it goes from one My French Community Party to the next. Now, the following one works out well because you'll still get that break in the middle because of Labor Day weekend. They get that week off. A lot of people might be starting school, their kids start school, whatever, so forth. But even though there's an extra week in there, that's just a week off that you have anyway, which you probably will need for your own purposes, because even though they're done with their class, you still have to prepare for the next one or do whatever.
Man, I'm excited, man. So much coming at me now.
Well, but it's
going to be intense, guys. Get ready.
But if anybody were to ask,
intense up until now, with the Jedis and the Rubies, and I'll continue that as well.
Well, the synergy of it, I think.
I don't plan on dropping that up anytime soon. I'll be able to do both.
But the synergy also works well because now, and whenever people ask you about the party or there's any confusion, about the French MBA, you just tell them a new session starts every other My French Community Party. So it plugs the party as well. And then, of course, when you do have this party, you're like, hey, we're all celebrating the new class that's coming in. We're all congratulating the people.
Now I'm like looking at a mountain and I need to, at least I have a path. It makes sense. Thank you so much, Achilles.
Well,
now I'm going to have to climb and I have to equip myself.
I think that it's
one little mountain at a time, I guess.
One little mountain at a time, and also because this first class is going to be like any new territory, like it's you have to be very forgiving of yourself, and I find that to be a struggle for a lot of people. That if it's your first time doing something, there's mistakes that will be made, blah, whatever. But there's also be some great surprises that come out of it. So, things like that.
I'm prepared, I have to say. It's not.
I'm sure you can do well. And I think that the My French Community
my
Party,
preparation, you can look at my profile on Rise. Let's see. My profile on Rise. Activity, summary. I wrote 2,000 posts. Since when did it start? Since a year, right? A year ago. Was it a year ago? Yeah, a year ago in June.
So
2,000 posts, given 100 free classes online during the pandemic. I'm still giving every week a free session to the Jedis, to those who are pushing the work, like Emmanuel. Okay. And I have another project also, the one with the also like a kind of like a boarding school for Delph. But that's not going to be me. I'm not going to be an instructor. I'm going to help someone if they want to, if it matches. But
okay. Well, for now, what we also know is that we know that the August 2nd My French Community Party will also be to celebrate the graduates of that first class, right? And we know that the My French Community Party that's going to happen in October will be to celebrate the graduates of that class that they'll come. So throughout that class, you tell the people like, about what it's worth. And if they
we need to come up, we have how much time do we have? We need to come up with a name. We need to come up with a lot of things now. Well, obviously I'm doing most of the job, but you can help with the creativity.
To come up with a name for these French MBA workshops?
Like the first cohort and all that. I don't know,
what you would call these classes and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, okay. First of all, you look so stressed now. You're supposed to have the.
What did I do to myself?
So, at the end of the day, this is what will. Let's say you have two people. You have these two people that you're doing that class with. and so forth. And they're learning, you're learning. It's such a great experience. You're laying down that groundwork and stuff. So I think in my mind, I think it'll be such an amazing thing. It's going to really expand my French community in such a great way.
So June 8th, right? It would start on June 8th.
So
and the first.
You have to decide which days of the week that we're it's that week that it begins. Yeah, it wouldn't be that Monday because, well, I mean, you couldn't have the class be on Mondays because you're already alternating 1 o'clock and 7 o'clock for my French community parties.
To the end of July, basically, beginning of August. Like August 1st is the last.
August, so by August
1st is the last day, right?
They'll be done.
Yeah,
that my French community party is the graduation party. They're done.
Yeah, so which is on Monday, August 2nd.
August 2nd. So that'd be their graduation thing. It adds a nice little spice, I think, to that particular party. So the classes, like, so those workshops, the name for those workshops,
and they can continue to stay in contact through the forum, after that. You don't have to be an active member of a program to be on the forum and share with everybody, all the alumni, anything you want.
Right. And so a name for these workshops, okay, since the Rubies and the Baby Warriors, we won't revisit those names. But I will say, for this particular case, what you really, and we both can, we have time, thank God, we've got a week, right? But is to come up with the kind of name for the individual classes, so that as they can progress, you're able to refer back to the alumni in that sense, right? So, like, let's say, for example, in my fraternity, when we've
got 2 weeks, no? We've got even more.
Well, no, I'm saying next week I have to show you the promo. We're going to start promoting the class.
Right.
To start recruiting the people. So we got to have some kind of like,
yeah.
So, but when, I'll throw this to you. So you think about it. I'll think about it, what we can do this for the future. But when I was in my fraternity in college, I was the pledge master. So I was in charge of the new people that would come in, and I'm supposed to make them do like all those crazy things in order to join, all that stuff.
Master.
That was me. Believe it or not, I ended up, I'm still not 100% sure how I ended up with that position, but that was me.
You're a community organizer for sure. Yeah.
Well, for sure, but
you've always been.
But in my fraternity, these are like these big athletic guys, and then me with the giant hair and the scrawny little body, like telling them push-ups, do this, do that. But I was a good organizer. I think that's that probably is what sold them. So each class that would come in, because it's like, you wear those Greek letters, like the fraternity letters. Okay.
Alpha, beta, gamma,
so the class, this was my idea, because what most fraternities do is there's the alpha class. That's the very first one. Then the beta class, the second. And then, alpha, beta, gamma. I don't even know the rest of the alphabet. I forgot about it now. But you have all these classes. So that way, when somebody say, oh, you're in the Omicron class, you kind of know how far along they came in terms of like how old that class is. So if I were to show up to that fraternity house today, 26 years later or whatever it is, and I say, oh, I'm the pledge master, I'm the one who got the alpha class to come in, they're like, oh my God, you're fucking old, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure they'd be like that. So for your classes, I think what I did like with that I put my own spin, is that yes, there was the alpha, the beta, and so forth, but it was the alpha something class. So I let that class choose a name for themselves as well. Exactly. So it was kind of a two-part thing.
I like that idea. Yeah.
There's one way to give the number, but also to give them their own sense of identity and so forth, blah, 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 so that they can kind of understand. So how you would chronicle, the order in which they came through French MBA, you want something that kind of shows like what order they came in, but something that gives them their own unifying, or unique character.
Yeah.
So we can certainly think of something like that. So if it was like, even if it was to say like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? It's alphabetical. But for this class, that first class, okay, you guys are the letter A, but pick a word in A that you think would work for your class.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
So all the classes will end up being alphabetical, and they would. So if I run into you, on the street, and so, or better yet, if somebody runs into you in the street 5 years from now, and they say, "Oh, hey, Raphael, how's it going?" Blah blah, yeah, so forth, and it's somebody you knew from back when. You're like, "Oh, so what class do you have?" So forth. "Oh, this class is the Wambu class or whatever, so forth," because there was a guy from whatever country in Wambu. Yeah. But by hearing W, they're like, "Oh my God!" So this class is like the class 21, 23. It lets you know how far they've come.
Yeah.
So I think that might be a nice way to go to. It's a great objective, a goal for them to do in that first class. Like, okay, we'll start out one of the icebreakers or whatever, or maybe at the end, after everybody at the end of that first session, when they're talking, they get to know each other, they're a bit more familiar. Maybe something throughout that first class that was funny that somebody said, like, "Oh, okay, so actually, you know what? Why don't we do this?" Because it kind of like represents what we just shared, in this.
They'll be very familiar with each other. That's
yeah. So that I think that might be a good way to go to put those classes in order.
And if I have different groups in the future, we can even imagine potentially mixing the groups somehow.
And mixing the groups, and guess what? If you get other instructors, right, and they come in, and for, like, let's say in 2022, in February, that first week, there's actually 3 classes starting. You're one instructor for one class, and the other 2 have 2 other instructors. And if you're on the letter F, fine. All 3 classes will pick something with the letter F that's unique to them. But because it's to just mark the time that they came in.
Exactly.
And that way they're all unique, but they're all the same, blah, blah, blah. Because that way, if somebody says, "Oh, I'm from the such and such," if I'm from the brioche, is that a thing?
Brioche. Yeah.
Okay. If I'm from the brioche class, then somebody else who would have been in a different class with the starts at the same level, like, "Oh my God, we took classes at the same time. You just had this other instructor." It's such a great way for them to kind of like chart themselves.
Yeah, I was just looking at, because this of having cohorts and promotions and being able to relate to a common school of thought, so to speak, or experience. I love that idea, and it made me to think of non-fungible tokens again, because instead of a diploma, you could have a badge or something that is crafted only for your class. And in that case, if I have the means, I could, for example, ask you to design something. So not only can you associate your experience with a name, but also with a design.
Well, right, and the thing is that what I wrote down here, another idea is that at the end of that, when they're done, you're having that party, right? So and celebrating, but to have a yearbook, to just have a little promo post that shows a picture of them and what they've accomplished, blah blah blah, whatever, and just that kind of acknowledgement, and then.
Oh yeah, you have an entire book of things that you've done, all your homework.
All the homework and stuff. They get that yearbook, but I'm saying also.
Yeah, you can download it to your machine and keep it with yourself forever.
By the time you get to the 3rd class, right, there could be something on the website that not for everybody to have to see. It could be one of those hidden pages that you just get the link to, whatever. But to show those classes, to show that these were the people and what they did and what they accomplished and so forth, and just so people can kind of see, like, this is something that is really like. A growing process. People just love that acknowledgement, the validation, to say like, "Oh, yeah, this one did this one did that." It might also help them for tracking each other. So if I'm in the class that starts with the letter F, I look at these other classes and I see that, oh, I did real estate. This guy in the I don't know, the coffee class or the cafe class, like, he also did real estate, and I can go ahead. And this is where the community starts to have like this connection through industry stuff versus like what we say for the regular My French community. They only make the connections a lot of times because of where they live. Oh, you live here, I live there, I'm going to be going into that area.
Exactly.
But that alumni page, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. It's an alumni page for all the people that took that French MBA class.
Yeah, it's a really similar experience regardless of where
you're
based. And we can imagine different products in terms of what content and what skills you've specialized in,
and what you're saying for the badges, absolutely. Whatever word they picked to make their class unique, I can easily create. I say easily, but I know I can create. I don't know if it's easy. I could create a badge based off of if they say that they wanted to be the cafe class, I could create something that looks like a crest with like a coffee thing inside, kind of a, whatever, something like that. yeah, I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
It's exciting. You look like you're so exhausted. I'm telling you, you have 8 weeks as they're doing these courses and stuff like that. A lot of this stuff is some of these things that I think you believe you have to do. I think ultimately it's what they will do. So you let them know as an assignment. I want you to write your own yearbook blurb about yourself.
Exactly.
Normally, I would say they should do it about each other because it makes it a little bit easier.
It's a trade school. It's a lot about them more than me.
But it's a trade school about them. But instead of having them say like, oh, you write about this one, you write about that one. It's a part of the assertivity. If you're going to be assertive, if you're going to be whatever, you have to be able to get up and speak about yourself and promote yourself that way. So in French, go ahead and write the blurb about what you've accomplished throughout these past couple months.
Yeah.
And do it. So they'll do all of that information. You'll just be putting it together. And when it comes time for that My French Community Party, the graduation party, you're just going to have them read what they wrote. You're not doing that work. It's very important that a lot of the stuff that you think you might have to do, you will have them doing this as their assignments because it helps them. It's about them, and you don't got time for it anyway. So you make sure that they do that.
Yeah. Again, it's not you as a member, you have to practice, you have to show up, you have to do your homework, you have to reflect on your skills, you have to do the work. It's a space for you to do the work. And so we're not going to do a class where I'm going to teach you, I'm the knowledgeable guy here, and I'm going to teach you what negotiation skills is. There's a lot of it that it's self-served. If you've read the book, if you've listened to a podcast, all of that, it's self-served. But then when it comes to mastering the skill itself, you have to have the space to practice. So this is the space for you to practice. Again, as you're saying, they're creating together and reflecting on that around skills. The French instructor is there as a resource whenever is needed, but you are also your own resource in a way.
So we'll and
there's nothing that's going to replace that. Nothing is going to replace that. This is not a school where we're going to upload download the knowledge in you. You're gonna have to show up. You're gonna have to immerse, and at least even just by doing that in French, your French improves. We've got a few tools that will squeeze in. The report that you can do in a fun way, and we also studied the same skills.
Well, and
we also somehow learn, as on that skill. We're not the top expert in that skill. If you want that top expert in that skill, go get it. It's probably more expensive.
Listen, and also sometimes something might be
but
more
expensive. But still, I'm sorry to cut you off. Still, if you get the most expert in that skill, it doesn't mean that you will become expert. You're gonna have to do the work still.
Well, yes, I was going to say, just because something is more expensive doesn't mean it's better quality. Just to keep that in mind also.
Right. And also, I think it takes a very different set of skills to teach a skill and being the top performer at the skill. For example, in finance and trading, like literally now, I'm talking, the best traders are not necessarily the best coaches for traders, for developing traders.
Okay, so
you have to be a good trader to be a good coach trader, but it's not necessarily the best. Sometimes they don't know how to communicate, they don't know how to, etc. But yeah.
Okay, so one thing then that will also that does need to happen with the website, because you have stuff on your end. My homework for next week is the promo, to come up with a promo post so you can take a look at it, see what that looks like. But I will create the calendar page for your website that has to go into your tab. We love the fact that we just had 3 things up there, but in terms of how the website looks, right, that what has to happen, if you see here, this looks great. I love the fact there's just those 3 things, but we need to have one that's a calendar so that people can see when these classes are beginning and when they're ending. So anytime you pitch it, because a calendar that has a link, like, oh, there's one that starts June, the week of well, technically be June 8th, let's say that Tuesday. So it starts June 8th. And then the next, if they can't do that, well, then they have to go with August 3rd, right? And then they can, if they wanted to register, they can click on that and then go straight to you. Yeah. But that calendar is going to be key to promote the French community parties, and to promote the now what you do have, like the semester curriculum. I don't know if you and Isabel want to have a discussion about somehow finding a way to get the baby warriors and the rubies tied into that kind of scheduling.
What type of scheduling? Not sure.
Because I remember you were saying like that you wanted, didn't you say that you wanted some kind of like to schedule these sessions like the winter breaks? So when you get a break from NBA, you would also get a break from rubies.
Absolutely.
So you have to decide what that looks like. So next week when we talk, I'll have the website page ready to go. It'll be hidden so nobody's looking at it, right? But let
me share my screen with you. Yeah, continue.
Okay. So we would just need to know, when exactly do you want? The biggest question is, when does the year end for my French community as far as workshops? What will be the last date for that?
So the good news is also I've installed the calendar plugin on Rise, and I think I can create calendars per group.
Okay.
And on Rise you can have you can have sections that are privatized per group, that if you have to be part of the group to see that section. So I mean, on the web page itself, and this I don't need to reinvent the wheel. It's very easy to use if I figure out how to use. But it's going to be very easy. You just click on the here. I think I created a calendar just for here, for example. You click on here and it goes to the details. Obviously, there's nothing in the details, but so that is going to be definitely useful for the organization of the groups.
Yes,
that they will
it's good that they internally that they can go and Rise and they can look at that. The stuff on the website will be somebody who is like an unknown, somebody just kind of curious. But on the internal, to have that through Rise, I think that's actually really nice.
On the website, exactly, and maybe a Q&A or something. So the website from my French community, of course. And I was thinking to lay out, of course, all the information under the new URL, like for the people who want to do the My French MBA.
Right. So and so My French MBA,
but we can mention it here still because it's part of the community.
It's part of the community. Well, for sure. I actually think the My French MBA, you might want to have. Well, you know what? I think first of all those tabs I might have to make a little thinner so that you don't have to scroll so far down to get to the other ones, you know. But that you could have you'd want the French MBA to be on top of the party, right? Yes.
I mean, it's a community party. Everybody's
invited, but I'm saying like in terms of the placement on that homepage, it should be on top of it because the people pay for it. You want the stuff that people are paying for to be more prominent than the free thing, in my mind.
Sorry. I don't know. Yeah. It makes no difference to me, but
okay.
What's important is for folks to have the information laid out, that they understand what it is, they understand the schedule, they understand it's a trade school, that they understand all the value from it, and that they are interested in doing it, and that is a way for me to filter them through me. And then just having them to enroll. That's it.
Okay, so but for your calendar, the way that it looks now is that for 2021, for the rest of this year, you would have 3 classes: June 8th, August 3rd and October 5th is when these classes would start. And you would have 7 weeks. You'd actually get a free week out of the October 5th class. The August 3rd class, and you'd get an extra week out of the October 5th one as well, because of Thanksgiving and because of Labor Day. So that's great. So they would all end on December 7th. So by December 7th, you wouldn't be having any French MBA until, I would think, the first Tuesday of either January or February, however you want to do that.
Right.
If you think the first Tuesday of January isn't enough of a break, then that's something to consider.
Wish me luck.
Well, because I mean, the first Tuesday of January is January 4th. So I mean, and you don't have to decide that yet. That's what I'm saying. All we have to know is really 2021. That's as far as the calendar is even going to go, as far as on the website. We're not going to go further. We definitely want to see how the first class even goes.
Right.
You might feel like you're burned out, but there is something to the effect of, when it comes to New Year's, people with New Year's resolutions, and I want to learn French and so forth, there might be something to that. Who knows? But you don't have to make that decision anytime before, even, I would say, September.
You're right. Right.
For now, people just know that these are the 3 classes, and if they want a spot, they just jump in. But December 7th, after that, you're done with the French MBA. Now, when do you normally take a break with the Rubies and the Baby Warriors?
So far, I haven't.
Oh my God.
But
and I understand that by taking a break, you're
and I have to praise them. They're pretty brave.
They're brave, but also I do understand that by taking a break from them, you're also taking a break from money, right? Like if you took a month off, then that's a month that they're not paying. And it could go either way. Like, how has it been when they've worked through the holidays? Has that been problematic, or do they push through and they're fine? I would think it'd be tough.
I think I'm lying. I think some folks have taken maybe a month and they came back. But on my end, it's just I'm just putting in the work, and it's very rewarding. So
I mean,
it's a lot of work, and at some point, yes, I do need a break, like everybody else is.
This is how I would this is what I would suggest, is that this is, I throw this out there, you tell me think about it. You don't even have to say the same thing now, but if I would go ahead and say December 7th, or I mean, not necessarily that exact date, French MBA for sure, but for the other ones, the Baby Warriors and so forth, maybe it could be the week after, who knows? But when you take that break, if you gave them the month break, then it would be that the January 3rd, that Monday, is my French community party. That's the party where everybody comes back. They talk about their holidays, what they did, so forth, reconnect. We start the whole new session and so forth. Because in my mind, if it were me and I was taking a class, and especially if I don't even have kids, I don't even have a boyfriend.
Can I ask you a favor, Achilles?
Sure.
Please don't be successful so quickly.
Over there, we're all going to rise to the success together.
Let's rise. It's the name of my forum. Yes. Rise.
We're all
my French community's forum.
Trust me, I'm not going anywhere. Like, we're all rising together. I mean, so I think that if you do that party,
I'm joking.
And also, I think by then you'll be an expert, first of all, at these parties with the Zoom breakout rooms and all that, because we would have done how many? 8 by that point? Like, it'd be a whole bunch of them. Yeah. But that party, bringing everybody back together, because this is what I would be concerned. If I was a Baby Warrior and I was doing this, the holidays come around, it's the same as I am with my own writing. And this is my own stuff, right? Where I always say during the holidays, oh, I got this work done. I've got to do this. I got to do that, blah, blah. But I can never do it because I got to buy gifts. I have holiday events, holiday family vacation. All those other people want to see each other. Everything's just so busy, so crazy. And Christmas, decorating the tree, all that. So it ends up making me feel guilty for not doing this other stuff. And if I knew that that these courses were still going on, that there's other people who don't have any lives, or they just don't care, or they're just more committed than I am and so forth, then it might be harder for me to come back in January feeling like I missed something or everybody went further along. So by giving that month break would allow them to just say, okay, just like for regular school, you get this break, you reflect and so forth. And then we're all going to come back to a party, a My French Community party, brand new class starts for French MBA. Everything's new, fresh, and a brand new year, that kind of stuff. So I think, and you for sure, never mind. I'm not even saying this as your creative consultant. I'm not even saying this for them trying to learn French and that they might need a break. I know you're going to need a break from December 7th to January with all the stuff that's going on and preparing for the new classes coming in and all the other things that you got going on. So I think that you'll need that. I recognize that you might be missing.
That's a good target. I would love that break. I would love to see myself. What's it? December 7th. You know, the party. Is it the party?
December 7th. That'd be because that's the first Monday. It's a huge. That'd be the big end of the year party type, whatever, so forth. You know,
right? It's actually December 6th. The party, because there's a first.
Oh, the party's the 6th. The 7th is when the other class would have started, but there won't be one for
vacation. Starts for a month or for
it starts for a month.
3, like,
and
1, 2, 3, 4, 4 weeks.
Now, and I'll also tell you this, okay? And this is, I have no problem adding this on because it's no work for you at all whatsoever, okay? That when this time rolls around, you know that there are going to be some people, because there always are, they're like, oh my God, it's ending, but I love it. I'm not. They want to keep working, right? There's going to be some people who are going to want to do that because this is the best part of their lives and they want to still so forth. And maybe they don't even celebrate Christmas. They could be Jewish. I don't know. Like they whatever. You can put something in place where you tell them, and because I've always thought you should do this. We talked about this once before, and say, hey, so if you, for anybody who has the time and is interested in doing whatever, if you want to write a story in French, because we're going to put it together and as an anthology and so forth, blah, blah, whatever, you want to do that. If you want to write a poem like that, like Divya, she was writing her poems in English. You want to try writing one in French and so forth, so that when we come to this party to showcase your talent, to read your little poetry,
talent show,
blah, 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 talent, whatever. If you want to learn a song in French and just sing it in French, you know, that party will be a huge party where people have a whole month to go ahead and plan something. I could even learn, I think, maybe, to say something in French.
That's a great plan.
So for people who want to do it, and you tell them, if you're busy, that's fine. You just come and enjoy the show. Just enjoy the show.
Synchronicity is the word today. Today, with the Jedis, we saw the time management. And it's great that we're doing this right now. That's time management.
It's time because you anytime that you will be taking a break, and anybody else that's taking a break, you want to make sure that anyone who still has that motivation, that enthusiasm, that they don't have to ever hold back from it. So if I have to learn a Madonna song in French, right, and I'm going to be singing, I'll need that whole month. But guess what? I love Madonna. I can't sing, but if I did could sing, and I'd be like, oh, I can practice, I can do this, that, so forth, whatever. So I think that is such a great way to get people still engaged and so forth, that they don't have to forget about the French stuff that they're practicing, the fine tuning.
You could learn La Vie en Rose d'Edith Piaf. She's kind of like our early 1930s Madonna, French version of Madonna.
Edith Piaf. Now, I know about her. I don't know any of her music or anything like that, right? But I know about her because she, Grace Jones, do you know who that is? Black lady, shaved head, whatever. Yeah. In one of the songs that she sings in French, right? In a concert, she said that woman, Edith Piaf, because I've listened to the song so many times, that's how I remember the name, that Edith Piaf said, if you want to be successful in life, you take your faults, your weaknesses, and you make it work for you.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to change what's wrong about you, make it work for you. And you know, one time when I first heard this was back when I was in my 30s, I think.
Yeah.
Which it was 18 years ago. I thought, wow, wouldn't it be great if I had just a job where I could just help people with their stuff? Because that's been my problem. Every time I try to do stuff, I'm always busy helping other people. And so I remember she said that. And then here's what I do now for a living. You know, like I get so excited. You want to do this, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, and it was a weakness of mine before.
You are in your dharma, I can tell you.
Yes, it was a problem before that I would be so invested in other people that whatever my real job was suffering right at the time, or my
so much so much you've come a long way from Raised by the Bar.
I liked it. Well, this week I definitely feel that way. Yeah, for sure. But I think that what we would do with that web page now, with that calendar, is there at the bottom. The last thing that it shows is January 6th, the big, party. Yeah. There's the end of the year party, but then there's that big party where everybody comes back, blah, 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 talent showcase, this and that, and so forth. I think that'd be so, for what people did spontaneously at the last party.
Amazing, yeah.
Can you imagine if people have time to prepare to do something? I think that's wild.
Yeah, it's January the 3rd, I think.
January the 3rd. So
weekend, whatever. If it's the first month, like the first Monday, but yeah.
Well, first of all, New Year's Eve is on a Friday. Great. They get drunk. New Year's Day, Saturday, they're hungover. They're dealing with their stuff. Great. They still have 2 days then to get ready. Because if New Year's Eve was that Sunday, nobody's going to show up to a party when they're all like.
Yeah, and probably Monday 3rd is boring. So
yes.
All of a sudden you have something to do. You recovered. I don't know.
And first of all, they're going to show up no matter what if they've been practicing what their talent and showcases. And I want to show up just because I want to see what everybody else is going to be doing.
Yeah.
And whatever I have to do, guess what? I can have my sister help me with that. Like I can say, okay, so Shambi, she's going to want to do something together. And I'm going to tell her, no, I work alone. I'm Beyonce. I don't need Destiny's Child. It just has to be me. But yeah, I think that's something that people I think can get really excited about.
Right, so my French MBA, 3 cohorts of 2 months, 2 intensive months this year, 2021. First one is starting pretty soon in 3 weeks, June the 8th.
Yes.
The second one, August the 3rd or something.
August 3rd.
And the third one, October the 5th. You want to be part of any of these cohorts for this program? It's trade school.
And it's 7 weeks with a 1 week break in the middle. You should always let people know that, because that'll make them, it's a break that you'll need, and they'll need. But when you hear that, it's like, okay, because then I can get a bit of a breather. I think that's a really great selling point. You'll actually end up with, except for that first course, for the other 2, you'll end up with 2 weeks, one in the middle and one at the end, which is fantastic. By making it 7 weeks, and they are definitely getting their money's worth, because, like you said, Monday, twice during the week, and then one on the weekend. So I think that's going to be a really
plus the topics that they write in French, the feedback that they give and they receive, the reflections that they write in French, the skills that they train. Again, you're going to train these skills and in French, and the French that it's skill they train. They'll be training their French as well. So skills and French training. So again, life coaching skills, soft skills, negotiation skills, assertivity, how to enjoy being you, time management, a lot of these topics that we've been already studying together with both the Jedis and the Rubies, are going to be studied by you. You're going to study it, and nothing can replace that. The uploading from a podcast will not replace, because knowing is nothing, doing is everything. When it comes to become assertive in your life, what do? Are you backing up? Are you backing yourself up or not? When it comes to enjoy the present moment in your life, what are you doing? Are you being able to be in the present with Achilles right now and being fully committed to that task, or are you busy in your head thinking of other things because you didn't schedule, you don't have that, you don't understand that thing? Or I don't know, maybe I'll open a week to bring whatever you want, bring a skill you want, and then discover like mysterious skill within the program, so that it's even more customized to you. So Because again, it doesn't take to be an expert to train. We can find the experts. We can read the books, and we do it in French. So we'll also send you all these reports. We'll also be there as a resource to tell you how to say things in the way that is correct and how to improve your French.
Because you will not only be stronger in the language, you'll end up being stronger for you as a person in how you communicate and your confidence level in speaking in front of others. The French is only part of what you end up coming out with.
Right. And just like in French, your ability to progress is in your hands always, because you need to train. So by creating that space, you being immersed, you bet on yourself somehow. You're saying to yourself, it's a strong commitment that, I can make some progress, I can grow, and I can learn French. I can become more confident and all of that. And as you said last week, also a sentence that struck me was, you will leave feeling better. You'll leave becoming a better person, and not only in French. So I like that motto of becoming a better person.
Because a lot of times when people go and do some of these, they go to conferences, they go to these seminars, or
they forget about everything afterwards. Right?
Well, not only that, but a lot of times people go there and they're trying,
including me. I mean, everybody.
But a lot of people think of it in terms of networking. That with networking, you meet all these great people and so forth. But what's so special about the French MBA, and just as much with my French community, is that it's not there. It's not this thing like, oh, you meet all these amazing people and stuff like that. That does happen, sure. But when you go to these conferences, you also meet a lot of people. But because those are passive experiences where you are sitting there listening to a panel discuss stuff, and then you meet somebody when you're grabbing coffee, whatever, that's fine. But with this stuff is that you're not just meeting great people. You are becoming a greater person because of it. You're building your confidence, your communication skill. You're discovering stuff about you. Like the idea of a topic, which I thought was great, is like enjoying who you are, which is something a lot of people don't necessarily even understand that concept. We don't even enjoy who I am. Right. They're so busy trying to be somebody different. Or I have to lose weight. I wish I was younger. I need more money.
Exactly.
So let me just enjoy who I am. So that even being a topic, no matter what language you're doing it, but it just happens to be in French, you come out being a greater person, not a different person, a greater person, building.
And it's specific to you,
exactly.
You're specific. So it takes a small group of respecting each other's somehow confidentiality. It's a safe space. So on if we use a forum, maybe it'll be on my French MBA forum, but it'll be private to the group somehow. And these guidelines a little bit, I've been inspired. It's just I cannot hide it, but you'll be working on your specificities. And with the people who have a common interest, one of French,
right. And I also just realized, okay, so we just spent almost like 2 hours, right, discussing the French MBA. And I realized there were the two things that in the beginning I was like to discuss. And that is, one is that with LinkedIn, because you are on LinkedIn, the posts and stuff that I'll create and come up with like the idea of like how to promote that on LinkedIn is something to do. Your Instagram, you don't have an Instagram account, do you?
Yeah, I created an Instagram account. There's nothing on it.
Okay, when did you create that account?
Last week, I think. Yeah.
Oh, well, and when were you going to let me know that? 5 months from now? If I would have happened to have asked you then. Okay, so because I want us to have a very easy but extensive promo plan. In other words, to design the promotion for the French MBA, whatever that would look like, that post, right? That post will go on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram, all three things. The same post, that's fine. I understand all too well, because I have Instagram, and I swear to God, sometimes I feel like in order for me to do Instagram correctly, it's like a part-time job that I'm not getting paid for, to try to keep up with it. But for now, just fundamentally is that we want the beauty about LinkedIn and Instagram YouTube is a whole different story, but for now we'll say LinkedIn and Instagram is that it reaches people you don't know. Facebook only handles people that you know who might hopefully transfer to other people that you don't know, but it's a much limited audience.
Right.
Instagram can pull from so many different things. And the same thing for LinkedIn, for the French MBA. I wasn't even necessarily thinking about my French community, but for my French MBA. So there is a what we'll go over next week, because since I'll be doing the promo thing next week, we'll just be talking about how we want to promote things for my French community and my French MBA in general, to come up with a kind of a system. The same way that the classes have a system, like, okay, boom, 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 boom. These are those 8 weeks with a week in between. There's a way to do it for social media, to kind of schedule it so that it kind of goes out and so forth, and get that squared away. Because I don't want, what I would love to see is that 2 months from now, you and I will get together in one of these sessions. And in that one session for that one day, we can schedule all the stuff that has to go out for the next 2 months. So that you're not having to what am I going to post now, blah, 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 whatever, that we could just schedule it out.
Exactly.
You know, and do it that way. It just has to be, and because now we have the website, the fundamental part of the website. We're going to have all the tools where people can like look at the calendar. They can look at this and look at that. There's and pull these people, and just reach people that we don't know. That's ultimately where it lies, in terms of like this business. The product is great, but the marketing, now that the website is the way it is, we can move forward. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, and it feels lucky that you didn't fire me already because you don't have any more time. So there's a lot of work to be done.
No, truly, for our purposes, the biggest hurdle really was the website. And the thing is that I knew in the website, it's never going to be, okay, we did it and it's done. It's a living, breathing creature that will continue to grow. We'll always find reasons to add something and take something off, or whatever. Like even just from this discussion, we decided we have to do the one that has the calendar. There's going to be eventually an alumni page so people can see all that. You know, there's going to be other stuff. That's all fine and well. But for now, we just know that the next step is to have that calendar. I think it's fantastic that we're scheduling you some time that you even know that you have.
Exactly.
Free. I'm sure Nilay would be very happy about that too.
And Isabel.
Oh, I forget that I guess she's also been working.
Right. So I'll write a little something, because I need to actually see that calendar in front of my eyes. Yeah. And then, putting in all the information and I already started working on it.
And I don't know. Itself. And that's something I guess for you to write down now, is that when it comes to those classes, do you want a deadline for when they can register, or would you want someone to be able to register for this class like the day before, if there's a space for it?
Up to the day before, yes, I think it's possible.
And also for these classes, I don't know how you do it for the baby warriors and the rubies, but registering for the class, is there a way to register for the class but not pay for it yet? As in, like, the class starts in August, let's say August 3rd. I want to register for August 3rd, but do I have to pay right away in order to register?
Right. Yes, so no, you could subscribe to an email. You could subscribe with your email to know more information.
Okay. And you get more information, and it's like, and let's say, I want to take that August 3rd class, but I would like
basically you'll receive a
confirmation that I have a spot.
It's just that you're interested in the program. You're not so sure yet that you want to commit to that program or even that date.
But I'm saying to you, and it's because I don't think you're going to have this problem right now, but it's better, because we all know other situations that have happened where there was some kind of confusion, right, with stuff, is that I'm going to be a certain type of, I will say, American. I'm not going to speak about the rest of the world, but there's a certain type of American that'll say, okay, I want to take that class, so I want to reserve a spot, so I know that I have a spot in that class. But I don't want to pay for the class until the last week of July, in case my plans change. So
no, to reserve you have to pay.
To reserve you have to pay. That was my question. Okay.
And you have to pay, and you'll get the opportunity to pay. Maybe after actually since we're just starting also, I'm going to, we're going to have to speak, maybe just to walk you through what's in the program, make sure your level assessment in French is good, and that you would be a good match for the other peers in the group, because that's also very important, that piece that.
Well, I mean, that is important. I wouldn't mention that to the person, but
it's just
to say to make sure you're a match is you have to do that assessment, but I wouldn't tell that person that, because then
there's like some criteria,
and there should be, but they shouldn't know that, because at the end of the day, if you decide that. The reason I say this is that if you're talking to a potential person, you're telling me, okay, so I just want to make sure that your level of French is good, blah, blah, and make sure that you're a good match for the class, whatever. It's possible that if you end up telling me that, even if you decided that I wasn't a good match for the class, for whatever the
legally speaking, you're talking about? Legally speaking?
Well, there's that. But I'm saying that if you decided that I wasn't a good match because my French wasn't good enough, right?
Yeah.
And you come to me and you tell me that, I'm not going to think that's true, because I think my French is amazing. What I'm going to think is that you spoke to other people in the class and you don't think they're going to like me. You think I'm not likable. That's what I might end up thinking. And then you have a PR issue. Then you have somebody who's taking it all personally. So you don't want, that person, if they're bossy, if they're too quiet, if they're arrogant, if they're whatever, you might not think they're a good fit. That's fine. No problem. But you just don't want to let anybody know that there's anything other than their French level that's being that you're assessing. You have to assess other stuff. Just don't let them know that.
But
if I'm 96 years old and every time you talk to me, I'm like, what? You might think, okay, this person's not going to work with the other two who are 20.
But I don't think we'll have that type of problem, honestly. Because
not yet.
The price tag, will make the selection.
Okay. But all of you just once you open it up with Instagram, LinkedIn, and the popularity and all, and once people start coming through and you start getting that information, that's where you'll get different types of people that you might not have expected. Certain situations come about. That's where one has to just.
It's like, we're going to tell you in advance that this is you apply for the program,
right? And they chat with you and so forth. And
it's not guaranteed. It's we need to kind of like do it's just we're saying it up front. I think there's no issue with that.
Okay, and so if
that there's like a typical sorry, cut you off.
Well, I was gonna say, okay, what I mean, and I get that. I think that sounds fine. So let's say I sign up, I pay you for August 3rd, you assess me and whatever, and it's all good. I pay for August 3rd.
Yeah.
And then July 27th comes around and I say, oh my God, I can't take the class because, I fell in love with this amazing man and he's whisking me off to Africa. So I have to learn a different language and blah, blah, blah. I can't take this class. I want my money back. What do you tell them?
No, there's no refund.
Well, that wasn't the answer I was expecting, but okay.
Yeah. It's a commitment.
No, I thought you were gonna say I'm so sorry for whatever, or that they get half back, but no, there's no refund. So
it's just a commitment. It takes you.
They took a spot of somebody else.
The value, and you're also bringing value. We choose you almost.
No, and let me tell you something. I think for you to say that is very good. I got I got in trouble. Well, I shouldn't say in trouble, but people looked at me and they say, what do you mean that if somebody doesn't show up for a Zoom with you, they still get charged, right? And I was like, well, no, I can't. And they're like, no, if your clients don't show up, they should be paying you. Otherwise, that's your incentive to have them show up. But I never knew that. But that person, they should recognize if on July 27th, they want a refund, then that spot that you held for them, you might not find someone else to fill that spot. So they cost you that money that you might have been able to fill if they hadn't bought that.
It's not a question of money.
It should be.
I mean, there's the money, but there's the fact that you take this program seriously, and this is a training skill program.
But they might take it seriously, but their circumstances might change.
That's fine. I'm not against it. If your circumstances change, your life change, then you don't have to show up. That's fine, but you won't get the money back.
Right, but I'm just saying that when they signed up for the class, they were taking it seriously. They still take it seriously.
Right.
They just now have to learn. They're now going to be living in Nigeria.
That's life. That's life. Life. You have to accept in life that there's a risk. Most people, it takes time, including me. I can pretend that I'm a risk taker, but when it comes to actually losing the money, all of a sudden I change my mind. No. If you in life, I mean, there's this ultimate risk that you're going to die no matter what, and you have to come to terms with this. It will make your life better. Acceptance of that term, that you have everything to lose in life and everything to gain also. So it's the same thing here. If you didn't know it, then you'll learn that, well, yeah, we won't be able to refund you, unfortunately.
And okay, so one final thing then, the French MBA, right? Let's just say that, let's say it had its own page, its own website, whatever the case may be. It says French MBA. Well, for my French community, it's immerse yourself in French in small groups.
Yeah.
Right? French MBA, what would be the tagline underneath that?
So there in the French MBA, you're saying that, I've obviously I took a lot of what I experimented with the rubies.
Yeah.
This level, but I'm taking it to the next level even.
Right. So in other words, a one sentence promotion thing to say French MBA, this is what it is, because you're immersing yourself in French in small groups. It actually still holds true, but it has to be a
still holds true. So that's why it's part of my French community
that shows the difference between my French community and my French MBA. Because they are two different things.
The main difference is with the rubies, we're doing the life coaching as a plus, on Sunday. Life coaching skills as a plus. All of a sudden in the French MBA, it's the heart of it now. It's almost the inverse equation of the rubies, and in the
is it life coaching
and sorry, I just want to finish this. And you have all these deadlines during the week that you have to post your work. If you're not posting your work, then you're missing out.
Okay, so
rubies, they don't have to post their work. It's like they do whatever they want. Okay. It's like free.
I'm going to sit here and I'm going to wait for you to give me a one sentence description of the French MBA. One sentence. Because for starters, you have to explain that this is more intense than my French community.
Yes, it's more intense. It's more demanding.
It's more demanding, but demanding doesn't really sell it. I don't hear demanding like, ooh, sign me up. I'm just looking for something that looks like this, like, I think this is great. Boom. Immerse yourself in French in small groups. Exclamation mark. Boom. Okay. So for my French MBA, because whatever sentence you say, which of course it can change over the course of the week if you think of something better, but whatever that sentence is, that's what's going to go on the promotion on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, so we have to convey the fact that it's more demanding, that there's all this offline work that you need to post in French, that you give feedback and all of that. So as I said, I got inspired by Seth Godin's Alt MBA, so the French MBA.
How do they describe it?
They say the Alt MBA is an intensive 4-week online workshop designed by Seth Godin for high-performing individuals who want to level up and lead. So I'm not using his content. I'm using, other content, like what I told you about. Like I'm inspired by other, life coaching skills, soft skills, etc. So I'm looking, for example, like Brooke Castillo's website. She says, "Do you want to transform your life? The life of your dream is one click away." That's so she's the founder of this life coach school. So life coach school is also a trade school, because as a life coach, if you want to become a life coach, you have to learn all these skills, and you have to go through the journey of doing it for yourself.
But the French MBA, although just the life coaching stuff that's at the heart of it, this is them learning stuff that is geared towards their career, right?
It's towards their career and towards skills that would impact more than their career. Actually, it would impact their a bit like what Seth Godin says, is like your the way you show up in the world. You know, in a generous way, in a way that is focused, in a way that you've planned your time ahead, in a way that you know what you're doing. You know, you gives you a better life, basically, to go through all these skills, life coaching skills that you know, I know I'm going to commit this time with you today, and it's going to help me with designing something that I think it's something that I want to do, like innovate and help others in the way that I was helped by others, but also in a new way somehow.
And all of that getting smashed into one sentence. Let me tell you something. And I have to do that for my book. Like, let's say for any novel that I ever write, you have to be able to pitch it in one sentence. And it's infuriating because there's so much to the story. There's just whatever. But if you can't condense it into one sentence, then you cannot really pitch it the way it in the immediate sense. You can't put it in a post, you can't put whatever, and you're only hurting yourself. There's a lot of other elements to it you want to add. You know, I have something here, but I'm not going to say what I have until I want to hear what you come up with. And I'm not saying mine's spectacular by any means. It's still, I'm not 100% happy with it, but
you know, that's what I was telling you, becoming a better person in French or something like this.
Right.
But it doesn't convey that idea of the fact that it's intense, right? Intensive. Creating the seed of change, you know, I don't know, working. For example, I'm saying, we teach you how to coach yourself. We teach you how to feel better. We teach you how to take massive action. That's on Brooke's website, and on Seth's website. He's just quoting a bunch of alumni who basically testify how the program changed their lives. For example, the LTMBA changed my view on what can be accomplished in a day. After going through the program, I don't think I can ever make up an excuse again. The LTMBA community is full of the most inspiring group of people I have ever worked with. There wasn't one individual I crossed paths with who I didn't learn something from. Wow. Yeah, I know. Now I'm seeing a picture of a guy, and I know who he is. I actually got connected, and he's such a successful guy, man. And yeah, but yeah, it's true. It teaches you, regardless of who there is, this idea of workshop, like train with others in a highly intensive way, immerse yourself highly in French, having all these resources.
Is this you giving me the one sentence? Because I hear a lot of
trying to.
I see that.
The MBA told me that I can fit even more into my day. Okay. Create the space to level up in French and in your life.
Okay. Say that again. Create
the space to level up in your French life. I don't know.
In your French life. Okay, so you have that. Mine was was different, which is good because we might be able to marry them. I don't know. All I put was, no, I can't find it because I wrote it in so many different spots.
Well, last time you find My French Community, so that was a good find.
I put an intense leadership course taught in French. Underneath would be 7 weeks with one thing in the middle, groups maximum of 4. Those kind of things, just like you're looking here where it says immerse yourself in French in small groups. Underneath, you see the 3 peer level groups. You can put the other stuff, but that big exclamation mark, I like that you want to level up your French life. There is something that the thing about leadership, I think that is, it's tough. I like the word because that's really the best way to convey that you're trying to teach something that for the assertiveness, for the negotiation, it has all of that. But I don't know if it would be too intimidating for some people. You know, some people want to learn French for work or for whatever the reason, but they don't want to be a leader. Some people don't.
But that's fine. That's fine. Then it's.
But I don't want them to think that this class is only for people who want to be leaders. So what I like about yours in terms of leveling up, that's much more empowering. To level up your French in an intense 7-week course, something like that might work too.
Right. So like workshop, would say.
Workshops. Yeah. Well, when you say workshops, you can say in a 7-week workshop. Yeah. So
I don't know. I like the leadership word actually. I'm okay with.
So you like the bit of mine more, and I like the bit of yours. So so if it was the leadership, I mean, it is a leadership work. I mean,
it has the MBA word in it. You know, it's intensive. MBA, you know,
intense is where people understand that it's demanding. That's the thing. It's just a better word for it. It is demanding, but you put the intense, an intense
to the level of what you show up with. You know, obviously we cannot do the job for you.
So how about what we could do then? God, it's my 3rd notebook page from this damn meeting. Like I end up taking more notes with you than anybody else. So
it's a creative session. It's not a meeting.
Well,
meetings are like.
Well, this is true. Yeah.
It's so brainstorming or
a leadership workshop. Damn it, I can't remember why I flipped this page because it was like, an intense leadership workshop. And what did you say before?
Right. For also, you know, I like what he says. He's for high performing individuals because he's saying who it is for and who it is not for, and that's fine. You know, maybe this
well, if you're saying
other format.
You're not going to take a leadership workshop if you're not a high performer. Right. To me, that there really is one of the same.
Right. So it's redundant.
An intense leadership workshop taught.
It's
taught in French, right?
There's also this idea of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. That you create that space for yourself to train yourself and become better at these skills, and also to become better with your French skills, like with your fluency level. Being aware of, you know, what needs to be done for you to polish your French, basically. So an intensive what did you say? Workshop, 7-week workshop for leaders who want to make a change, not only in French.
All right. So
to be the change.
Well, the
we'll have to think about it.
Here is a little bit on the smaller side. I would have been better off trying to do this in well, this will actually save us time. I mean, like the fact that this thing is already 5:15, but what day is today? Is today Sunday?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So where's my? Okay, I'll just use this real quick. So what we'll what we'll do is I'll write this thing down, add a page. We'll go down here. Great, fantastic. Let's just throw this in there. All right. I hate that logo. Let's just do that. Okay. So because there's going to be two parts to this. Okay. There's the part on the top that's like all really big in print, right? Which is going to be this, the immerse yourself, that, and then there's going to be the part underneath. So you kind of break it out, but it's important to catch the keyword. So here, if we know that it's going to be an intense leadership workshop.
Yeah, that happens to be in French or something. I don't know.
Sure. We'll go with that. And when you say it, that happens to be in French, what I think is so great about that is that it's not like you're trying to teach French and you're just using the leadership thing just as kind of like a gimmick to like, this is just what we're talking about. It's like, you're getting a quality leadership workshop.
Yes.
Period. It happens to be in French. You'll be learning that stuff, but you're going to come out of this not just getting some French, but you're also going to be getting like legit leadership skills. So I do like them. Yeah. So down here, there's the, I put level up in small groups, max of 4.
Right. You can say, create the space to train your leadership skills or something like this.
Well, if leadership is up here, we don't want to put it down here because we're trying to like really save that time. But create the space. I do like that phrase. The other thing that had to go down here
because it's not only you're not only doing the Zoom, you're also writing down the topics, the damn topics. You have to, you're committing to doing that at least twice per week. You're going to write down a topic, give feedback, and then reflect on your topic by writing down your reflective script. I'm using.
Well, so now I'm wondering this, like including, okay, so the wording for this, I'm not so sure, because what, like, if it's written like this, I think we could put 8-week course if you say it includes a 1-week break.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're going to be doing, because if it including a 1-week break, so that means that 1 week is part of the 8 that we're counting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, the right way in English anyway is that I'll have to say includes.
Okay.
When you put including, it might mean you're going to add an extra week. So includes 1 week break. I see that. I'm like, oh yeah, that's awesome.
So June 7.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Exactly.
So, but these two things free up what this main thing is going to be, right? This is just a small stuff that it's really important that it's 8 weeks includes 1 week. The small groups max of 4. I think these are big selling points. So up here, create. So when you're talking about creating that space, that we could put create a space to level up in small groups. Do you want to do that? But or
that's good. Level up in small groups. That's perfect. No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
And then if I look at, he puts lots of people also like the emphasis on the change it creates in you.
Well, just like you did here, right? Like here we have like a little something that's written down here. There's a little blurb, and
train your leadership skills, and
well, down here in the little paragraph that's going to describe it, because the one good thing about my French MBA, when it has its own page, you can actually put a lot of stuff in there too. But to create a space to. Space is not even a word. To a space to what were we going to say? Create a space to train your leadership skills.
Right. And
with
foreign, that's also, people who are learning French, like who are leaders and learning French, people who in a way, or we can convey that idea.
At this point, there's something to be said. We'll look at it next week, if anything, but that you're meeting 3 times a week. I think that has to be put there, because someone think 8-week workshop means you're meeting once a week. So 3 times a week is something worth putting in there.
Right. But they have to understand it's catered for people. It's not for French people. It's for people who are learning French, right? So this idea of killing 2 birds with one stone.
Well, then maybe
that your
maybe
French
here
will improve as a byproduct.
Then this might be where it's like create a space to level up your French as you train in leadership skills 3 times a week. And then this would actually just be small groups, maximum of 4 people.
Right, like always.
8-week workshop, include 1 break.
Groups are limited to 4, more time for you to practice. I like that sentence too.
Well, to put more time to practice.
It's fine. Small groups.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, with this kind of stuff, they all their time isn't gonna be for practice. Time is gonna be doing.
Yeah, they can do the math.
They'll be doing the work. They won't have as much free time as the rubies and the baby warriors. Okay, and then so I'll come up with that. All right, so that gives you something to work with. Let me just label this as Rafa.
Cool.
Rafa Promotions. Okay,
man, it's great to do the work. I don't know what to say. Thank you so much.
Well, no, this was a very they're always productive, right? But
fingers crossed. Go slowly, Achilles.
yeah. But I will tell you now, like, this is what I think is going to be so interesting is that now, when every time we have that My French Community party, you're going to find you have so much to share with the people who come to that party. We have this, we have that. You'll have these announcements. Like what I'm going to start doing now on Fridays is I'm having a 5-minute happy hour, which is a Facebook Live. It's just 5 minutes to promote whatever new is happening with like the cocktails, what other people are doing. So I'm just going to create that every week. And that way, like if it's the Friday before My French Community party, like, hey, it's so for you. And it's just a 5-minute thing, Facebook Live. I can also take that video and post it somewhere else, blah, 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 boom, great. But I know that as I'm doing so much more stuff, and for you, for these parties, so like even the one that we're going to have next month in June, that you can talk about, like, these are the French MBA courses. The first one's going to be starting so forth, and then the next. So anybody wants to sign up, blah, 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 whatever. Just to being able to promote that part alone is something huge. So I think that's I think this is really exciting, and to create hopefully a schedule that takes time off of your hands. You don't have to be doing something all straight through, and then
having that peace of mind of just executing the plan, right? 10 months.
Well, and it forces you to have some answers. It's like when we talk about the French MBA, I'm like, okay, so when does it start? When does it begin? When do we do it? End of the year, big party, blah, blah, blah. Like, even for me now, like, I know we wouldn't say this to them, I guess it'd be too soon. But like, let's say by the time we get to the one in August or October, to tell them, hey, when that break happens, there's going to be that big party, the showcase of the talents of whatever people did over the holidays and so forth. If you don't have anything you want to showcase, you just got to come to watch what everybody else does, blah, 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 whatever. Like, even for me that I don't speak French, I'm like, God, maybe I could do some of my cocktail cartoons in French, and then I can just say what the expression is myself, like speaking French. I don't know. Like even my own mind, I'm thinking, what could I do that's exciting? And if I'm doing that, I know that your whole community would be feeling the same way.
Yeah. And again, I think the French MBA, I'm still thinking about, who's it for? Somebody who's aspiring to be a leader.
It could be someone. It's like that, and I will.
Who wants to shine in French as well?
Well, this is what's going to happen when you do the first one, and that is that, for example, when I first started doing this, what we're doing now, what it started out as was me doing the posts for the person. That's all. You're having the My French Community Party. All I would do is I would create the post and I would post it for you. I wasn't giving any ideas. I wasn't doing any of that. I was just doing posting, right? And with those first few people who were my clients, they would talk about, well, I want to post this. And then I'd be like, well, why don't you try this? And next thing you know, I'm throwing out some ideas. They're like, oh yeah, this is great support. And then I realized, okay, I'm not really getting paid for all of these ideas. I'm getting paid very little money for what is really promoting their business and stuff. And it grew, but I would never have known that if I hadn't tried that thing in the beginning. So I think what will happen with this first group of the class, you might realize that, wow, I really wanted to do this thing, right? And this is so great, but
I really want to do this thing.
I want to do this thing. You're like, but with the students that are coming in, with people who are taking it, you know what? I think we can kind of go in this direction. So some of it, some answers you won't get until you are already immersed with that first class. The classes will keep going. I'm just saying, like, the tone, some of that stuff, you might realize, oh, you know what, this could be this or this could be that, or we could do it this other way. Just like I never thought when I said
exactly
do this party once a month, I just thought it was going to bring some alumni people and that's it. But now we know this is like a graduation party for the MBA classes, all that stuff. Like, you just never know until you start doing it.
Yeah, and for everybody else, but
but to say leadership,
community, it's still the community party, but
it's still the community party, and the graduation is every other month anyway. But it just the flavor of it you don't know until. So for now, it's just to get people coming in. Leadership is a great umbrella idea, and then as they come in, and each class is going to take its own personality too, I think.
Yeah.
Because if you were in a leadership class, right, with 3 people, and I was in another leadership class with 3 people, and we're both, like, let's say students,
it's different.
It'll be completely different, right? And what will come of that will be very different. And if you were ever in the same class together, also that would be very different. So it just takes its own personality. And I think that you're very good at letting the engagement and the creativity breathe, and so forth. You'll have your structure, but I don't think that you have to get I think some of it you don't necessarily have to put so much energy into thinking like it would be, because you'll see with that first class how it works, what doesn't.
Most of the time, leaders, they have projects of their own. So I'm just thinking,
they're going to come in with their own agenda, and you find a way to kind of make that work. Yeah.
And the curriculum or the content that I'll offer to study is for the intention of making a change of how they see things, how they show up, and how they also learning skills, assertivity, negotiations, and how they show up, basically. Yeah.
And you and Isabel are both really good at, like, getting people wherever they're at that whatever they're at that point, finding out what they want, and you also think in terms of what you think would be good for them, and you're good at finding that merge. When you and I first got together, I remember thinking, before anything else, I said, there's one thing I'm going to get Rafa to do. And we went weeks and weeks. Then we had the break, right? And then we got back, and it was the logo. And I finally got to the point, I said, the logo, I just said, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm going to throw it at him, and I'm just going to hope he catches it. Why? But there was so many other things, stuff that you thought was important, other stuff that I realized, oh, well, actually, the logo isn't as important as maybe getting this website started and all that stuff. So that's the thing. These classes, and it'll just become stronger and stronger as they move along. And somebody might say, Rafa, okay, I took the class, started June 8th. It was fantastic. It was wonderful, blah, blah, blah. Can I sign up for the August 2nd? Can I keep going into the next?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And I would assume you would say absolutely yes, and then they would come and they'll bring in, and they'll become stronger and stronger with each class.
Right. The idea is to go deep into you.
Yes.
Training yourself. So,
yes.
It's a create a space for you to train yourself. But anyways, such a great session, like always. So much to unpack.
So much to unpack. I'm glad you record them, so then you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd even watch it all through, but
and it's live. Yeah, I actually took notes from last time just to refresh.
Good.
So
good.
I actually use these sessions, and I did the homework you suggested to do, but miserably failed. With you suggested I to do a video for the purpose of hiring potential French instructors. I did that, but anyways, I think
you did it, but you did it, but you didn't like the video, or
it's too long. I have to rework that, but I'm on the way of doing it. Just taking more time then.
Okay, so then I'm gonna put 3 stars here because that tells me I don't have to deal with it until next week. But 3 stars, and that is if you don't have the video for next week, we will.
I have it now, but it's I can show it to you, but it's not. Yeah, it's not.
Well, no. And here's the thing: if you say you have it now, you're not happy with it. Between now and next week, if you don't come up with one that you are happy with, we will do that video next week on the YouTube live, and you will just have to trim that little piece and use that piece.
Yeah, I thought about that actually. About
because I think if you were talking to me, all they have to do is like with the Zoom, you just have to go to speaker view, right? So then boom, it's just your face as you're talking. They won't see me next to you. It's just you. And you're just going to be talking to me. And it's as simple as that. And we will record that video on Zoom for all the work.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
I think
there's a lot more to do.
I think you'll do better when you know you're speaking to somebody than if you're just talking into the abyss.
Right. I think so too.
Yes. And then I will tell you that you will not do that video with your bedroom in the background.
Right. Merci beaucoup, Achilles. A lot to unpack from this, and let's continue celebrating our journey.
Yes.
It feels good to be tired of a good day of work in my case, and of this session on top of it. That was my last session of the day, so I'm.
Yeah, mine too. This is my third and last one. Now I can go to the supermarket.
Yeah, I've been doing the rubies, the Jedis, the Turkish wire for myself, and now this.
And that's why I was like, I know Sundays are tough.
Yeah, it's a pleasure as always.
As always. Yeah. All right, my friend. Enjoy the rest of your day. Now that could be all just for you.
Yeah, and I'm excited for you too.
Yes, and keep that flame burning.
Voilà, garde ta flamme intact.
You know what?
Level up in French as a leader.
I'm gonna learn that expression for next week so that I can say that expression instead.
Right.
That'll be my French homework.
Right, I can. Gardez votre flamme intacte. I invented it. I don't think it's totally correct. I mean, it's just creative. That's kind of like a polite way, or just if you it's a friend.
No, that's perfect because I'm even throwing it into the thing that I just did now for our promo that had your name on it. So it's there, perfect. So now maybe my sister will help me with the pronunciation so I can impress you.
Say hi to Shambi.
I will. She tried calling me while you and I were talking, so we'll see what that was about. All right, my friend. I have my homework. You have your homework, and we have a bright, wonderful year.
Yeah, coming at us.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
I know you have a lot to unpack, but I'm telling you, it's gonna be really, really, really amazing.
Merci beaucoup.
All right. Take care.
Salut Achilles. Tchuss. Garde ta flamme intacte.